Hey, Brad.
Mark.
Um, I'm wondering what Marcus's progress is and what sense do you guys get of his availability after the break?
Um, we haven't gotten into specifics about when he'd be available or not. He's getting a lot closer. What does that mean? I don't know. Like, it kind of depends probably on how the break goes, and how much he's able to get in with our people. I think he's planning on staying here and doing that. And then, how much you can actually do from a live standpoint to gear back up. The good news is in our first few days, I think we'll practice the Wednesday before we play Brooklyn, and then we got a couple of days before we play again. And we'll probably practice all three of those days, which would be a little bit unusual, but that should give him even more chance to practice. And so anytime after that, then I would assume that he'd probably be more ready than not having any practice time. Now, that said, I don't know if he'll be that advanced by the time we get back on the practice court.
Jamie Maggio.
Hi, Coach. I was wondering if you could speak to your friendship and relationship with Ty Lue. You've both acknowledged over the years that you will sometimes check in with each other during certain milestones and moments in your careers.
Yeah, I just have a lot of respect for Ty. I don't know Ty as well as other members of our staff because he was here as an assistant with Doc. And so he worked with Jay Larinaga and Jamie Young and Brandon Bailey and Kenny Graves and others. So he's so well liked and has such a great reputation. I've just gotten to know him since we've both been head coaches, and I just can't say enough good things about him as a coach. I think he's got great perspective. He sees the game. He's got a great way of getting the most out of his teams. They get better late. I think he just has a feel for, pushing all the right buttons. And I got a lot of respect for him. I really like him, and happy he's back, on a sideline because, there's not many better coaches out there, if any. He's awfully good.
Gary Washburn.
Hey, Brad, I hate to ask you this question every time it happens, but I wanted to get your reaction to the firing of Lloyd Pierce.
Yeah, I just said on Shawn Grandy's thing, I think, first of all, we all get into coaching knowing the eventual outcome. That said, I can't think, again, like Lloyd is an unbelievable coach. And when I turn on their games, and they just beat us by 30 last week, but when I turn on their games, I learn something every time I watch his teams play. And then on top of that, the kind of person he is and the leader that he is and his impact on and off the court. Obviously I've communicated a little bit with Lloyd since the firing, but I think my two thoughts would be he can do whatever he wants next. He's going to be in high demand all around the NBA. And my second thought would be, I'm not sure people understand how hard winning is. It's just tough. Like, it's hard to win. And to build something long and sustainable takes patience and time, and it's not going to be linear. And so, I'm a big fan of Lloyd Pierce. Let's put it that way.
Law Murray.
Hey, Brad, last time that you faced the Clippers out here in LA, you started Daniel Tice, but then made a decision to quickly pull him. This is not about Tice. It's about the fact that over the last several years, I feel like you've been a lot more liberal about going away from your starting lineup, even the start second halves of games. It's not something that a lot of coaches do. And just wanted to get your perspective on why you feel like that's something that you can do more often, and why might other coaches not do that as often?
Well, I don't know if I'm any different than everybody else. I don't really pay attention to that. I do think sometimes in certain matchups it becomes very obvious. Now, that said, I'm not taking any credit for that because Tice's knee was sore and he pulled himself out of that game at halftime. So he was done at halftime in street clothes watching the second half anyways. But these guys put us in a tough spot. And, and I think that no matter how you start the game, you have to do things that are really hard. You have to guard their individual great talents without fouling, and you have to account for the rim, and they're the best 3-point shooting team in the league. And so how do you do all that without having good versatility on the floor? Now, I do think Tristan and Tice are good, versatile bigs. Like they can keep guys in front of them. They can move their feet. They can do all that stuff. But these guys are hard to guard no matter who you put out there. And I don't think I should get any credit for any of that stuff. I think sometimes you do it out of necessity. Sometimes you do it because somebody sprains an ankle in the first half. And sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't.
Keith Smith.
Hey, Brad, you've talked a lot this year about needing to be able to defend without fouling. They shoot the best percentage in the league. How do you coach the guys to do that? Like, well, what are things you talk to them about defending without fouling?
Well, I think number one is it's a fine line because it's a balance between being physical and tough and not being unsolid. And so it is a really fine line. We don't want to be unassertive. We don't want to be not impactful, but we just can't foul as much. And I think that there comes a time where you have to just realize, like, if you foul too much, it's hard to play, because you're either putting a team into the bonus early or you're giving them free throws once they're there. And so we just have to, I thought the other night, I didn't know if the first quarter was ever going to end, Keith. I felt so bad for everybody watching the game at home because it was just foul fest. But we've got to improve in that regard. There's several things that we can improve on. That's a huge one. And I think that sometimes that's a function of, guys want to make their impact on a game. Guys want to come out and show how aggressive they're going to be. And then all of a sudden you got 2 or 3 fouls and, you got to play, you're on edge a little bit the rest of the quarter because teams can take advantage of that.